I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey friends, Brian Santos here back with another episode of AfterBuzz TV's Quarantine with the Stars. Today I'm joined by a multi-talented actor, singer, and entertainer from Netflix's new hit series, Sweet Magnolias. You know him as Ty Townsend. Please welcome Carson Rowland.
Hey, how's it going?
Great, how are you? Nice to see you again. We've been seeing each other quite often these last 2 weeks, so happy to have you back.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So excited. So, I mentioned we're not really going to talk too much about Sweet Magnolias because we did do a lot of that on the after show. So if you haven't seen the Sweet Magnolias after show, make sure you check it out.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. If you haven't seen that, make sure you check it out. But it's so fun, and I can't wait to talk to you in this interview just all about the other projects you have going on, especially your music. So let's just kind of jump right in.
Let's do it.
Perfect. All right. I actually want to check in with you first too, because I did see on your Instagram something about like a concussion. You posted this, I think that was like wakeboarding or something. Tell me all about that. Are you okay? How are you doing?
Yes, I'm okay. It was just a joke, but I got to go to Tennessee last week, and it was so fun. We just relaxed. It was basically, we were in called La Follette, Tennessee. So it's been in the middle of nowhere. It was great. We spent time on the lake. We fished, we skied, we wakeboarded, and there was a couple times where I hit the water pretty hard. But it was fun just to learn to do that stuff because I've never done that. And it was great. It was really just relaxing, enjoying nature, with my family and friends. So it was a really good time.
That's amazing. What else have you been doing in quarantine and kind of keep busy besides getting out in nature?
Yeah, so I'm in South Florida right now with my family. So we've been spending a lot of family time, which is great because the past couple of years I've been so busy with work that I really haven't had the chance to spend a lot of time with them. So family time has been so fun. We do play a lot of board games together. We've been playing a lot of ultimate frisbee in the street in the park near our house, which has been a lot of fun, staying active. And I've been doing a lot of fishing because I loved fishing growing up in South Florida. So I've been able to revisit this old hobby, which has been just awesome. And I love fishing so much. So that's been a lot of fun. Doing a lot of home workouts. My little sister is a ballet dancer. And if you guys want to check her out on Instagram, it's Carson Rowland. She is the most talented of the Rowland children. I think she was ranked top 5 ballet dancers in the world. She is ridiculous.
That's great.
But she lives in North Carolina and she's never here. So honestly, probably one of the best blessings that I've had being home is having her home as well, because I never get to spend time with her. So she's incredible. But she works out so hard. I mean, harder than anyone I've ever seen work, right? So we've been doing a lot together, and she's only 15, has been kicking my butt and getting me in shape. So that's been so much fun. But overall, just the family time has just been incredible. And it's a really blessing in disguise throughout everything going on.
For sure. Have you tried barre, doing barre workouts?
For ballet. So
yeah,
I did ballet once, and I was, I think I was 12. So I did a bunch of musical theater growing up, and that's how I really got my start in acting. And one day I was just convinced. I'm like, Carson, okay. Or I went to my mom. I was like, okay, I want to be a triple threat. I can act, I can sing, can't dance. So my mom enrolled me in the same ballet studio that my sisters go to. And I did one class, and it was the elementary class, but the class was just first level. So what the class was just a bunch of middle-aged women trying to get in shape by doing barre. And so I'm 12, 13-year-old boy in a class with a bunch of middle-aged women. And it was just the most awkward experience of my life. So I never went back. But I did take hip hop and stuff after that. But that was my one experience taking barre. So
for sure. Yeah, I have a background in dance as well, and I've done a couple barre classes, and they're so hard. You never know how in shape you are until you take dance shape or barre shape, ballet shape, because it is so hard.
Yeah, my little sister is jacked. She's jacked. I mean, it's just she's so strong, but she does everything with such ease, which is why it's just so impressive when she dances.
I love that. Well, you mentioned you're back kind of going to school. I know you're studying for a degree in neuroscience. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
That is so incredible. But how does someone with a neuroscience degree become an actor? How does that two worlds collide?
So growing up, I always thought that I was going to be a doctor. My dad is a doctor, and so side note here, all the healthcare professionals, thank you guys so much for all you're doing right now. But yeah, so my dad is a doctor, and he would go on what's called rounds. So we go to the hospital and see a bunch of his patients on the weekends, and so he would bring his kids along. And so everyone in the hospital always asked me like, okay, are you going to be a doctor like your dad? And I would always say yes. And so, I mean, ever since I was probably 5 or 6 years old, it was like, you're going to be a doctor. And then I started discovering my artistic tendencies, and I didn't really think I could make a living out of it. My sister moved to I have a twin sister, another sister. So she moved to New York and started dancing, doing ballet up there. And so that's when I really thought like, okay, maybe do something with this. And so I started pursuing it a little bit more, but kind of just as a hobby, not really as a career. And then I got an agent, and then things started really picking up, and that's when I was like, okay, I can do something with this. But I always had that doctor as a plan B. I throughout basically my whole acting career, I've been taking classes on the side online, and then actually this semester, the spring semester, I was in person at FAU. So it's been a really crazy experience juggling both school and acting, but it's been amazing, and I thank so much like to FAU for giving me the opportunity to do a lot of classes online, and it was been such a blessing because I love looking at things intellectually. I love keeping my mind active, and so being able to use the creative side and also the intellectual side of my brain has been such a blessing and so amazing.
That's great. Well, you're doing it so well. You're able to balance it because obviously you had such an amazing role on Sweet Magnolias. I want to touch really quick because we didn't really talk about it in our after show, but how did it feel for you to get that number one spot? Like, what was that like to be number one on Netflix?
Yeah, that honestly was the most surreal thing I think I've ever experienced. So I was talking to my management team and my team in LA, and we're just talking about the show. And I talked to them. I was like, look, I think we can hit the top 10. Like, I think we can do it. If we hit the top 10, I will be so psyched. Like, I was thinking about doing like a little thing on my Instagram saying, if we hit the top 10, I'll shave my head. Like, let's do something crazy.
Please don't.
But like I was like, that's what I was talking about because man, I really just want to hit this top 10. And the first day we're number 5. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. And the second day we're number 2. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is this can't be happening. Like this is incredible. And then of course 3 days later we hit number 1. And that was just, I mean, just so surreal. And I really think that people are resonating, or they're resonating with the message of the show, which is friendship, which is community, which is exactly what the world needs right now. And I think this is the most opportune time to watch the show and for the show to be released. And it was just so amazing to see like everyone's response to this. It's been so cool, and thank everyone so much for loving the show because I know it's like making us smile and it's making the whole production smile, and it's just we're doing something cool here, and it's so amazing to be part of it.
I love that. Obviously, I love the show. It was absolutely amazing. Again, like Carson said, if you haven't seen Sweet Magnolias, make sure you do. We talked so much about Ty on those after shows. So I actually want to talk about another exciting role you had this year on American Housewives. So what was your favorite part about working on that show?
So that show it was hard because all the other things I've done have been I've started from the beginning. So whether it's a movie or whether it's a show, I've been with the production since day one. This
Mhm.
time I'm coming in the middle of season 4. Everyone knows everyone. I'm the new guy on the block, and I'm here for 4 episodes. So I was there for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months. So I just was kind of shot in the middle of this huge production. And it was hard because I remember the first time on set, I just have a small scene, and I get off the bus that they're taking us from base camp to set. And right when I get off, they're like, Carson, all right, here's your mark, go. Like, I mean, within 30 seconds of me getting off the bus. So I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. But first, I've never worked with these people before. I don't know who the director is. I don't even know who like DP is. I'm just trying to figure everything out. But it was such a great experience. And every one of those kids on that show, and the adults too, are just so talented and so nice. And they welcomed me. I mean, it was just great. And the character was a really awesome character because um, my character in that show was a kid. Almost, he's a suicidal kid who's struggling with like who is like he's gay, and he's trying to like find a way to balance that with school. And is people are people
Mhm.
gonna um like not like him because he's gay? And this is such an intricate character because the show is so lighthearted and so funny, but my character was I mean, really, really, really dramatic, and it was something like
Hmm.
really serious, that a story that needs to be told, especially right now. And I was so honored to play this role because it was a very, very dramatic role inside this lighthearted show, and I really wanted to give justice to all the kids and all like everyone going through that instance, because like that is such a common thing to happen, and it's so hard. I can never empathize with someone going through that because it's just so difficult. But I did a bunch of research. I talked with some of my friends who've gone through similar things, um, and I was trying to do my best to get in the mindset of a kid like that. And I really think it was portrayed pretty well. I think the response was really good, and working on that show was just so amazing. With everyone, the directors, the producers, everyone was so nice. So working on the show was awesome.
I love that so much. And I'm happy that you brought that up because, like these days in Hollywood, I'm happy with how far we've come with, that kind of representation for the
Yes,
LGBT community, being part of the community myself. It's so great to see that. So thank you so much for portraying that. I'm happy that it worked out well for you.
yeah.
I also want to talk about I Am Frankie because I know that that was huge for you as well, one of your breakout roles. So what do you miss about that show?
I That show was incredible. I made some of my best friends on that show. I still talk every day to some of those cast members. Um, I what I miss of most about that show is probably our living situation. I know it sounds weird, but we were all put in a hotel together, right? So we're all on different floors, but in this one building. So every night it was just kind of like group hangout. So everyone would go to somebody's apartment, and we would just hang out, have fun, talk. I mean, it was incredible. You're living with these people for 3.5 months, and
Mhm.
every single one of those people, those kids on that show was just amazing, and they're lifelong friends. I talk. I'm not kidding. I talk to them every day, and that whole show was just a real step forward in my career. And I even talked to the executive producer on that show a lot. I texted him when Sweet Magnolias came out, because like if it wasn't for him, like I would have not been here right now. And so yeah, thanks to Eric Gennard, who is probably won't see this, but if he does, he's just an amazing guy, and everyone on that show is just awesome.
I love that so much. Let's switch gears and talk about your music. I mentioned you're very multi-talented, and you mentioned it yourself. You sing and you act. You have a new single out with "Leave My Lonely Alone." So, what
Yes.
was the inspiration behind that song?
Ooh. Okay. So let's preface a little bit here. I'm gonna release an EP, and it's gonna be called
Yay!
yeah, super cool. It's gonna be called "You Know Who You Are." So every song, if is about someone specific or some specific instance. So that person listens to that song, they'll know who they are. So that's the whole idea.
Oh, okay.
So Leave My Lonely Alone is a very specific instance that happened to one of my friends, and I don't want to go in detail because it's pretty hard, rough scenario. You can listen to the song and you can understand why.
Hmm.
Um, but it's basically talking about this kind of paradoxical sense of someone that needs help but is not accepting the help.
Hmm.
So my friend was going through something, and he or she will remain ambiguous here. Um, just would not accept help, and all of us were just trying to help this person. And and then that's when I got the idea for the song, because um, there was such a community that wanted to help this person, and they were not accepting the invitation for help. And so that's a really, really dark song, and I think it's kind of necessary right now with everything that's going
Hmm.
on. But yeah, I love writing music, and it's definitely like a form of therapy for me. Just kind of like talking through my emotions. It's like writing a diary essentially. Um, and yeah, so during quarantine, I've been doing a bunch of that. I was actually uh, writing one this morning, and that I think is going to be super cool. It's called Miss Hollywood Wannabe, so that's fun.
Yay!
But yeah, so it's a great, just an outlet for releasing emotions, tension, stuff like that.
For sure. I love that so much. When can we expect that, by the way? Can you give me any details? When can we expect your EP?
So the EP is going to be just accumulation of the singles. So I think we're releasing a single every 6 weeks. So I think the next one's sometime mid June,
Okay.
um, and I think that one's either Disappear or Miss Hollywood Wannabe. Not sure yet, um, but yeah. So coming soon.
I love that so much. Carson, it's been such a pleasure to have you. Before we head out of here, I would just want to know, besides your music, besides the other projects you have going on, what can we expect from you when this is all over? Like, what do you have working on next?
So there are some projects up in the air, but nothing tangible right now. I'll definitely have something more tangible when this whole lockdown thing ends. But hopefully, there's going to be big things in the future.
I love that so much. And where can your fans find you on social media? I'm sure they're already following you, but where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Carson Rowland on Instagram and Twitter.
I love that so much. Anything else you want to shout out to your fans about your music, about this current situation before we head out of here?
Yeah, of course. Just talking to everyone here, like we're all in this together. This is a terrible, terrible situation going on. But if we stay home, wear masks, social distance, we can get through this together. And I know there's light at the end of the tunnel, and we can get through this together. Okay. So stay safe, everyone. And it was a pleasure being here.
Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure to have you.
Yeah,
Again, this has been
great talking to you
Quarantine
again.
with the Stars. I know, it's so great to see you again. I'm happy. I was like, you know what? I got to reach out to him and talk more about what he has going on. So I love that. This has been Quarantine with the Stars with Carson Rowland. I'm your host, Brian Santos. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok at the Brian Santos. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.